All right, I think
So good evening.
live.
Do we have that portable microphone?
Yes.
All right, so is that working? Yes. All right, so good evening and welcome to the Plainfield Select Board meeting of Monday, May 11th. So we'll call the meeting to order. And the first thing I would ask is, are there any changes to the agenda? I am aware of one, and that is the addition of the paving bids on the bond vote that passed at town meeting. Carl sent those to us on Friday, and he's going to join us later, and as are the bidders, I am told. And I don't know whether that means in person or by Zoom, but I propose adding that in the section where we're dealing with the road and bridge standards and the roadside mowing contract, so in no particular order.
Yes.
Are there any other changes to the agenda? Hearing none, and I don't see Karen here yet, so are there any announcements? Yes, Michael.
Again, here. Just because it won't necessarily be obvious, I am announcing my resignation as Emergency Management Director effective this evening. And later in the evening, I hope to introduce, in addition to whoever you appoint as my replacement, also another member of the team, just so you know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
I would also announce that next Monday, the 18th, is a public meeting here. We'll warn it as a special select board meeting, but this is what the contractors are calling a local concerns meeting, and this has to do with the major repairs or whatever option we choose up the Brook Road, that 2-mile section, which involves 3 or 4 bridges or 3.5 bridges, and major washouts, affectionately known as the Grand Canyon. But this is an opportunity and just the first of a series of public inputs, and we'll hear more about that. But VHB, the contractor, will make about a 20-minute presentation, and then we will hear from the public, as many as we can fit in. There is also the opportunity to submit written comments, both ahead of time and after the meeting, if you don't get a chance to talk at that meeting. But we would encourage anyone with thoughts, concerns, ideas to come out and attend. All right, any other announcements? All right, hearing none, we'll move to public comment. Is there any public comment this evening? Hearing none, we will move to the town clerk.
Pause 1 second. Greetings.
I'm so sorry.
We're just passing through public comment. Have you any public comments?
Yes, my name's Russ Green. I live at.
Might we invite you to the
To the
microphone?
microphone.
Sorry, my first
Walk
name.
right in, go to the mic.
Welcome, Russ.
Sort of perfect.
Hi. Well, my name is Russ Green. I live at 120 Main Street. I'm a born and raised Vermonter, new to this area. I just moved back, and I'm actually Rose's next door neighbor. And I would like to join the housing committee. I heard that there was a vacancy. So any way that I'd be able to help out with that, I would love to. I'm a former landscape architect, so I have a little bit of experience with civic design. I don't know how much that would play into that, but I currently work in tech as a designer, but I would love to be able to contribute to that if I'm able.
Thank you, Russ.
Okay,
Very
thank you.
nice, thank you. Yes.
All right, any other public comment? All righty, town clerk's report. Jamie, you're up.
Shall I go
Please.
special break?
Oh, yeah. You can stand back.
Sorry, was I?
It's up high. Well, we're trying to make it work.
Hello. Okay. Um, so I feel like it was only the last select board meeting that you all heard from me. So there's not a whole lot to report as far as big stuff. But I have a meeting with the implementation team of the upgraded phone and internet via Spectrum, which will be like a really big deal for communications stuff. Town-wide, this will be the first time we have a phone system that, where you can like press a button and transfer to like someone not in the building, or even someone in the building. Like we don't have that yet, so planning that soon. That'll be great. And ergonomically too, we will be able to have headsets, which is
Yay.
super important. No more ruined shoulders. What was the other thing? I don't know, I can't think of it now.
Okay.
Yeah, any questions about anything that I did or did not say? No? Okay. Thank you, bye.
Okay.
Boy, you got it easy.
Well, I just wanted to thank you and Carol and Kristen for all the work you guys do putting these packets together for us. That is invaluable. There's a lot of stuff in here that a lot of people have hands on.
Yeah.
Tammy, I don't know if you had a hand in it too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you too. So.
Tammy has both hands in it. Yeah. On the warrants.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes. Okay. Yes, Andy.
Majority of this one is mine.
I think I'll hold it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next item we have is an update on the treasurer and financial director position filling update. Karen and I did interview one candidate. I'm just looking to see if Karen has joined us yet, so. We are not recommending that they be hired. So we still need a town treasurer / financial director. We have, again, tweaked the description and we'll be sending it out, reposting it on all the places that we've posted before. But trying to focus a little bit more on attracting someone to our little town. Understanding the scale that we're a town of under 1,400 people, that we also have some recent traumas that are affecting in big ways the financial reporting systems that we have, but also that it's a small intimate office setting, and that yeah, we need someone who is focused and pays attention to detail. So anyway, any questions from the board?
It's disappointing.
Okay. So next agenda item is the Conservation Commission's recommendation to award conservation monies to the Vermont Land Trust. And I believe you all received something from Rose Paul a little while back.
Yeah,
And this is basically an expansion of conservation of 15 acres of farmland on Country Club Road, adjacent to the home parcel of Tamarack Farm, organic vegetable farm owned by Amanda Andrews. The Housing and Conservation Board is putting up $165,000 towards this, and they're asking us for the other two. And it does take an action of the select board to appropriate monies from the conservation fund, so.
which has voted to recommend that we do this.
Correct. So,
I would make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the Conservation Commission and award Vermont Land Trust and this land being brought into Vermont Land Trust through Amanda Andrews' purchase for the $2,000 coming out of the Conservation Commission's budget.
coming from the conservation fund, reserve fund, conservation fund.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Does not come out of their operating budget.
thank
Yeah.
you.
They don't have an operating budget that big.
Is there a second?
I second it.
And Patty seconds. Is there further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimous 4-0. All right. Is Carl here? Yes. So Carl, we did adjust the agenda at the beginning to add the 2 paving contracts, but we have 2 other items, the accept V-Trans's new road and bridge standards for Vermont, and then the roadside mowing contract. So,
I'm here.
so do you have any comment on the road and bridge standards?
Nothing from me.
Okay. And,
Pass me the folder, Peter.
yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? And this is just an annual adoption, and it qualifies us for various forms of state aid that comes through roads and bridges, but we just have to promise to do it to standards. And these are new for 2026. And apparently they sent them out to a lot of towns in January, and many towns did not pick that queue up, including us. So we were reminded. So I would accept a motion to adopt them.
Make a motion to adopt the town road and bridge standards for the year 2026
Is
on
there,
behalf of the town of Plainfield.
is there a second, Patty, again? Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Karen is here.
Oh, Karen is here, and none opposed, so that passes unanimously 5-0. The roadside mowing contract.
That was the town road.
I do not have that document.
Is it in here?
Carl, did you have a comment on the roadside mowing?
Yeah, the person who's been doing the roadside mowing has submitted a bid for a 1 or 2 year at $100 more than it was last year. And Michael is feeling that they do a good job, and there's no reason we shouldn't agree to a 2 year, because he will keep the price the same the second year. The extra $100 reflects the increase in fuel and steel parts that he needs.
Do we have a name?
I don't have it in front of me, but if you don't have the bid, then
I'm looking at it, I'm pulling it up
We're
now.
searching for it.
okay.
Donald Dexter.
Donald Dexter, does that sound right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that
and
sounds
then
correct.
This is double pass mowing of the class 2 and 3 roads, $7,600.
Yeah.
I mean, if our road foreman is recommending this and a road commissioner is also recommending this, I would make a motion that we vote to approve roadside mowing contract with Donald Dexter for,
And he submits a certificate of insurance. He's one of the ones
He did.
he did. Good.
thank you, no, wait, you say he did?
He's one of the ones we were missing last year, so I want to make sure that we get a certificate of insurance. That's part of the deal of hiring him.
So there's a condition here.
He needs a certificate of insurance.
Okay, conditional to presentation of proof of insurance. We are authorizing $7,600 for a 2-year contract, although I believe would be, no? You shaking your head no?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm just switching.
Is it 7,600 for each year, per
It's
year?
per year for double pass mowing of class 2 and 3 roads in town.
Conditioned on proof of insurance. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And Patty seconds again.
Yeah, I would.
Any further discussion?
It's good.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Karen, you with us?
Karen, wait.
I did.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I was
Yes.
looking at your mute, but I see you over there. Oh, now, okay. Okay, good. All right, thank you. That's the 5-0 unanimous on that. All right, Carl, we now have 2 bids for paving. This is on Main Street Extension, and a little bit of School Street. Did you want to comment on the 2 bids that we have?
The main issue, I had a conversation today with Michael about the difference in pricing on the 2 bids. Allstate and Pike are both highly qualified people to do the job. Allstate came in somewhere around $30,000 less, and I wanted to find out why that was. Both are underneath the bond vote approval that we had last town meeting. It turns out that Allstate would require the town to do the fine leveling, and which is the final pass before paving to get the sand and gravel uniformly level, and any holes filled and so on. So it's an different amount of work, an extra amount of work, and Allstate did not bid that in their bid where Pike did. And also, Allstate would take the grindings. This would be what was ground up asphalt essentially, and they were asking us to have a place where they could dump it in town. We don't have such a site, and Pike again was going to take it up to their plant in Berlin to reprocess it. So I think that's pretty clearly the difference in pricing between the 2, and because we would rather not have the time or responsibility to level the base with our own machinery, and also because we don't really have a place to dump the asphalt grindings, Michael is leaning to the Pike bid.
All right, thank you very much, Carl, that makes sense. So we have Allstate Construction at $167,501, and we have Pike Industries at $197,759.50. As Carl said, they're both underneath the voter-approved vote. So is there a preference for a motion by a board member?
Oh, Michael's got his hand up.
A question?
Yep.
I didn't hear it mentioned how the culvert under the lower portion of Main Street would be replaced. It has been discussed, and it thought theoretically there was a solution to that the pipe be replaced before the street was paved. Has that been addressed?
I did have a conversation with Michael Bingham the other day, and he mentioned actually 2 culverts that they would replace while the pavement was up.
He's gonna replace 2 culverts on Main Street prior to the paving. He's planning to do that this month.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I can make a motion to accept and approve Pike Industries estimate proposal dated 5/8/26 to the sum of $197,759.50 cents. 50 cents.
Can you give me that number?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Thank
That
you,
came out pretty awkwardly.
Yeah.
197,
Yep,
759.50.
thank you.
Yep. And this is for Main Street Extension, and School Street paving.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it again.
Patty is seconding again. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Pike wins it 5-0. All right,
Thank you all.
Thank you, Carl.
thank you, Carl. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and thanks to the road crew.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to move into emergency mode for the next 3 items, and we have an appointment.
Emergency management.
Please no.
There is a difference.
All right, and as we heard earlier, Michael Billingsley has resigned effective this evening, so we have a vacancy.
Sad day.
And, and we have a recommendation for a replacement. Michael, do you want to introduce and say a word otherwise?
Yes, for everyone who is keeping track.
Michael,
Yeah.
stand back a little. The mic
Oh,
is
I'm
very
sorry.
high.
Yeah, I'll turn this way too, just not to blast it. First of all, I'm Michael Billingsley, former emergency management director. And I'd like to introduce everyone to Matt Bergeron, who's at the back of the room. And Matthew is he's got a Plainfield phone number and Plainfield address. He actually lives just over the line in North Montpelier, but a quick drive down 214, so he can get here even when there's high water. And we are in a support mode right now so that he's learning the job, and that will probably continue for a few more months as I am not pulling out hard, but actually in a very soft, graduated way. And also we have in our team, if you could just stand up, Alyssa, we have Alyssa Vigil, who's been my assistant for the last month or so, and will be coming back to be Matthew's assistant in August. And so we'll actually have a several-person team, which will primarily be led by Matthew, but I will be in a support role, Alyssa will be in a support role, and Denise Wheeler, who is not here tonight, but who is, you might know from the Twin Valley Senior Center, is our Emergency Operations Center person who would be here in the room during, downstairs in the Emergency Operations Center during any emergency. And her title is Emergency Management Coordinator. So we have a fairly close-knit team, and I think we'll just spend the next 6 months learning about each other and making sure everybody can do their job. Matthew, do you want to ask Matthew to come to the mic?
Yeah, Matthew, come on up. Say a few words for the folks. Is this now off? Is
Does
this,
that go away?
it seemed to have gone away.
Okay, let me deal.
We're learning technology. Keith Swan is training us this evening on how to run all the mics, so.
What are you saying, I'm short?
Oh, shucks. All right.
Oh, what would you like to know?
Peter, try it again. Should be live.
Is that there?
Yeah.
Is it, it's sort of there.
There you go.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's good. Here we go.
Okay, no, I didn't know what he was doing, I didn't want to talk yet. So basically, I worked at Central Vermont Medical Center for 15 years. 10 years of it, I did emergency management up there. I was writing their lead and all their, emergency exercises, everything that you could imagine, I did. 10 years before that, I was actually the president of the volunteer ambulance service for Williamstown. So I know the volunteer part and everything on how it works, how it should go. But at the same time, I also did training for new EMS providers, and I also did trainings and helped with certifications for first responders and EMTs. And I was on the board for a while until finally we hired a full-time person. So I could step back and he could take that, so I could continue with the volunteer part until I got done when I started working up at the hospital. Prior to that, I was also a junior firefighter when I first started at 16 for Berry City. Got onto their call force, and that's when I started doing some emergency management stuff. I used to do a lot of the stuff out in the field. So anytime they needed a rescue or recovery or, any type of help, I was there out in the field with State of Vermont Emergency Management. While I was at the hospital, I got my bachelor's degree in human health and emergency management. Graduated that in 2020 and still kind of did stuff in the background, helping out different organizations. Place where my mother used to live was at the high rise at Northbury Manor. They had issues during the pandemic. They didn't have much written. They didn't know what to do. I stepped in. I kind of wrote up a few things, gave them their guidelines of what they needed to follow, kept them up to speed, and also helped CDMC do the same thing throughout the whole pandemic. I enjoy working with the public. I don't ask for really anything. I don't really look for pay. And I didn't even know that, believe it or not, that they had an emergency management director here. The only time I found out was back in January when I was celebrating my wife's birthday, and lo and behold, on CAX, they had a little spigot. My wife laughed because she looked at me after, like an hour after I saw it. She goes, "What's taking you so long?" And I had my phone in my hand and I'm looking at it, and she goes, "About time." So that's when I emailed Michael. And he's been, really down to earth, helping me out, showing me, here and there, what is expected, what to look for, and knowing that I still have him for a little while to actually get into the role and get my feet going. I just look for your approval to be nominated.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move. I will move to approve Matthew Bergeron as our next emergency management director.
Until March of 2027.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, it's an annual appointment,
Right.
Yeah.
renewed after town meeting and the
Yeah.
organizational meeting of the select board at that time. So,
Yeah.
great.
I'll second.
And Karen seconds. Any further discussion? If not,
I'll make a note. You are eminently overqualified for the position. So thank you for showing up as an overqualified person.
Thank you.
thank you, Andy. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's unanimous, 5-0.
Welcome aboard, Matthew.
Thank you, yay.
And thank you, Michael, for being his predecessor and doing so well.
Yeah.
All right. All right, now we have some administrative stuff to do along with this.
Right.
There is a delegation of authority, which I printed out, and I just need to know. Basically, you want to explain this, Michael?
Sure.
Just basically in a nutshell, what this all does.
Yeah, pretty easy. In the first 3 days to 2 weeks of a disaster, when everything's turned upside down, the emergency management director is trying to pull together dozens of resources, volunteers, and contributed labor and contributed goods. And as a consequence, they need to be able to act on behalf of the town. So the delegation of authority gives in both the context of the disaster, emergency powers to coordinate and to get people through it, and in other times gives them administrative power to oversee things like the improvement of the shelter and the requisitioning of goods that would be needed to do the emergency management job on a regular basis through the course of the year. So that's what a delegation of authority is. There are some specific sums of money involved, which include that which was approved by the select board already for the emergency management budget, as well as a small emergency fund to be able to expand if in fact emergency purchases need to be made in the first week or two.
Yes, I was looking at the numbers that are in here, and the administrative is around $6,986. That's all except for the stipends and the the special fund.
That's correct.
So I did notice, and you requested in an email, raising the dollar amount that he's authorized to spend from 500 to 1,000. However, our procurement policy specifies $500, so we would also have to amend our purchasing and procurement policy, and I think we need to do that probably at a forthcoming meeting.
So it's change it back to 500 for now?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just leave it at 500 for now.
You have a question?
Yep.
Does this delegation of authority, doesn't it automatically come with a position? Because we are actually naming Matthew as the recipient of this as opposed to the EMD. So I'm curious about that. I mean, whatever the protocol is, I'm fine with, but it struck me as odd that it's about a person as opposed to the position.
I can answer that.
Sure.
This is something the state has been fine-tuning for the last 5 years. More than anything, it is emergency management directors are all kinds of stripes of people, and they may or may not take the authority or whatever could be considered a town-by-town definition of an emergency management director. This is the state's boilerplate language for what an emergency management director can do and will be expected to do according to the legal requirements. That's why it's actually fairly precise and has signatures at every page and that kind of thing.
Does that answer your question?
Well enough.
Okay. I mean, there's a bunch of things here that are written down in boxes check, and then there's places to add stuff. There's nothing added.
Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah, I looked at it.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions on the delegation of authority? And apparently,
I think you're signing on behalf of the board, Peter.
that's what it looks like.
Well, I would make a motion to approve a delegation of authority to Matthew Bergeron and to have Select Board Chair Peter Youngbear sign on behalf of the Plainfield Select Board. I guess. Go ahead, Karen.
Is there more?
No, it's fine.
Are you seconding?
I was going to, but only if if Rose is finished.
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So there's a motion that we approve and authorize Peter to sign. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and that has passed 5-0. And we'll make sure that gets signed at the end of the meeting. All right.
Would you like to sign it now, actually?
Well, and there's initials on each page. Is that the way this works?
Yes.
I can take over for that. Next up, while Peter signs the delegation of authority, is the 2026 Local Emergency Management Plan, just re-upped for this year. Would you like to introduce it, Michael? Or actually, Matthew, would you like to introduce it?
I think I should do it because I prepared it, so.
Fair enough. Thank you.
And when I say I prepared it with help, and it opens with who prepared it, and it includes myself, as well as Sid Pollock, who is Vermont Emergency Management's regional coordinator, basically the person who looks over my shoulder, as well as Elizabeth Vigil, who is my assistant and has been extraordinarily informed also about Vermont Emergency Management. Basically, this is the multiple types of information that the state might need or that contractors might need to know who to contact and who can step forward and who can do what in the context of an emergency. It also, or a disaster, and it also names those places where you have vulnerable populations, such as Twinfield School, where there are people, or where there are people with special needs who may need to be evacuated rapidly in the event of something like a flood. So it is really basically a constantly updated, well, it should be constantly updated document, which acts as a guide for the first responders, for state emergency management, for our regional people, and for everybody in town.
So is there a copy then, I'm understanding, both with the state and with each one of the emergency response organizations that we are with? They all have a copy of the Plainfield LAMP?
It's actually stored in a location on the state website where everyone who would need to could go to it. It wouldn't necessarily be people who even know about now. And the other thing about it is that the people who are first point of contact for the town in regards to certain contexts, you know, Peter Youngbear, as an example, is his name is as a first point of contact. Our fire chief is a first point of contact. Matthew is a first point of contact. And it's already been updated to include Matthew. It should lastly be pointed out, which Peter has brought to your attention in the past. When this is signed prior to the 1st of June, it then makes us eligible for FEMA funding, should any be coming our way. And if we don't have this completed on an annual basis, either if we, or unless we've gotten an authorization from Washington to delay it, it would mean that we would not be able to receive funds that we might qualify for. So it is actually a threshold document.
Thank you, Michael.
This was a question. So, Michael, I asked you this privately, but I'll ask you this publicly. There's a lot of emails, there's a lot of phone numbers, there's like an infinite number of contacts in there. Are all those phone numbers accurate? Are all those emails accurate?
Between Melissa and myself, we've confirmed all of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And names are spelled right.
And names are spelled right, we hope, yeah. Like Young Bear, for example?
Dan Cabby.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That didn't get fixed?
That did get fixed, yes, it did.
I think it was good. I think it was fixed.
Oh, it did get fixed.
It did get fixed, yes. All right. All righty. Do we have a motion on the LEMP?
I'll move to approve.
Andy moves to approve the local emergency management plan. Is there a second?
Second.
Francis Rose seconds. Any further discussion?
I think you're signing on our behalf once again, so signed by Peter Youngbear on behalf of the Plainfield Select Board.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And that is unanimous as well. Thank you. And it looks like there's two places here to sign. One as the select board member, and also signing as the certifying individual as someone who has the ICS one training.
Right.
So,
Actually, anyone could sign on the second line, but you would be the one to sign on the
Yep.
first line. Not anyone,
Hey, buddy, sign this.
but that's right.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. All righty. Thank you. We are now out of emergency management mode. Well, not exactly. We're now into FEMA mode.
That's me.
This is the integrity contract, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, thank you, Alyssa, and welcome, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, so this has to do with the task order on integrity group. Karen, did you want to speak to this?
I will. Usually we have an annual task order for the work that the integrity group does with us for the FEMA claims. Somehow we missed it at the end of last year, caught it now. We didn't overspend on the first one, the one we were using, but we do expect that there will still be some expenses between now and the end of the year. At which point I think we're going to be pretty close to closing out our FEMA claims at that point. So this is the last task order that would allow billing up until that limit that's on that task order. So just, I did negotiate it down based on the hours that I believe we need. So that we're not getting billed for more than that. And I do check the invoices every month when they come in. So just need the board to approve and sign that task order, and then I'll get it over to the integrity group.
Karen, I have a question for you. Is this connected to the application for federal assistance?
No,
No, different.
that's the EWP.
Okay, thank you.
Different, two different things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so this is 385 hours at 59,575.
Yeah, that's the maximum.
Right, and that basically comes out of the reimbursements that we.
Yeah, we'll get that, most of that back. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Approve?
Did I say improve?
Please do.
To approve a contract with the Integrity Group, task order number 2, dated January 2025, disaster recovery consulting services.
Dated January 2020. Wait a minute.
No, it's dated April 28th.
Oh, the task order number 2, though,
Is 2025-01. That's just the order number.
That's the order number. It was
date
dated April.
Yeah.
April 28th, 2026.
That's the one.
April 28th of this year. Give me the task order number again, please.
Number 2,
Yes,
dash 2025,
2-225.
no, 2025,
Got it.
dash 01.
Thank you.
Is there a second? Patty seconds. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? And that is also unanimous.
And we might need to authorize you to sign on our behalf.
I think you did in your motion.
That's what we just did.
Great.
I've got the next item.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, this is the grant extension,
Or emergency watershed protection.
EWP, yep.
Yeah. So the short story around this is that we did sign an extension that took us through the end of which year are we in? Took us through the end of this year, and they came back from the feds saying we're not approving it. We only want to extend through the end of November. So it only requires Peter's signature. It's and that's it.
Is this?
Okay. And so the difference between what we did a month ago, the vote that we signed a month ago is just changing that to November?
1 month, yeah, 1 month date to the end of November.
Okay, instead of December, okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Motion to approve the application for federal assistance from EWP.
Extension.
Through November
November of which year?
2026.
Thank you.
So moved.
So Francis moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Patty did it first. And all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? None? 5-0, unanimous again, thank you. And this is the 11th. Here you go.
Thank you.
Reminder. All right. All right. And we are up to approval of draft minutes of April 27th.
So I read it and caught one change, which is our buddy Charlie Cogbill was present at the last meeting, so let the minutes reflect that Charlie was present.
And this is April 27th?
Yeah.
All right.
Tammy's got a
Tammy's
question.
got me though.
Tammy?
Also, at the last meeting, we had indicated that we were going to attach Aaron's email reported to you guys about the FEMA, and that was not attached to the minutes. So can we attach those, or I don't know if you need to do this at a later date and attach them, but it was indicated that we were doing that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, anything you want me to attach, please forward to me, because I didn't get like Aaron's email, for example.
Okay, why don't I do that right now?
Okay, amazing.
Thank you.
And just for catching Charlie Cogbill, by the way, on that, good catch. But at the meeting before, you had said you would look into who we had to list.
Yes, we don't have to list everybody. Let me give me the mic. My understanding from talking to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns is that we are required to include select board members and anyone else who is quote unquote active in the meeting. Which presumably means anyone who speaks up for any reason.
Yeah.
So, but I think you've gone further than that, Jamie, and you're attempting to include everybody, and there's no downside to that, but in terms of what is legally required, that's what's
Right.
required.
Right. Thank you. All righty. So do we have a motion to accept the draft minutes of April 27th as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Karen makes it,
I'll second.
Andy seconds it.
Thank you.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. All right. We have warrants.
Always. Peter, well, before we do that, I have a sort of an agenda question. We have someone who showed up last minute to join the housing committee. Do we attend to that this evening, or do we attend to that at the next select board meeting?
It's really our choice. So that's up, if somebody wants to make a motion,
Who is it?
but we're in the middle of,
Oh, Karen missed this part.
I did, sorry.
My neighbor, new neighbor, Russ, introduced himself at the beginning of this meeting with a statement of desire and intent, if we'll have him, to join the now empty spot on the Plainfield Housing Advisory Committee. And I informally interviewed him in my garden. And,
Very
Okay.
thankful.
I wasn't aware that there was an empty spot. Did someone resign?
Vicki
Yes.
McDonald.
Vicki McDonald stepped down.
I see. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and we did ask them, them meaning the Housing Advisory Committee, if they had any suggestions for replacements. And to my awareness, we haven't received any.
Okay.
And Russ seems eminently qualified and in a good spirit for the position, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. We were in the middle of something else, but I'm happy to go forward with it if the group wants to.
We were about to start in on the warrants, so. What do you want to do?
I'd like to make a motion.
Go
Maybe, what's your last name, Russ?
Green, like the color with an E at the end.
I would make a motion to appoint Russ Green to the empty position on the Plainfield Housing Advisory Commission.
I second that.
So
any discussion?
Yes, this is now the time for discussion.
Okay, so I guess I just have to, I mean, I wasn't aware of the situation either, so is that something, I know at the original, and this goes for any committee, I guess, when are we allowing the community to be aware of situations that these positions are available and then allow people to apply for them versus, it sounds like Karen didn't even know, I guess. So I'm just curious on how do we pick the best candidates? I know when we initially did this committee, there was an application process. And it feels like and Ross, no offense. I don't even know you, and you seem like a very nice guy, and I'm glad you're willing to, but I'm just thinking in general, like we had a
Fair
process,
question,
and
yeah.
is this something that we should maybe think about putting a process in place to allow the community as a whole to apply for open positions and find the best candidate for that? And Ross may be it. He might be the only one. He might be a great candidate. I don't know, but I just think there was a process originally.
I think Vicky stepped down, it was a couple weeks ago, I believe. Is that true?
It was at the last select board and it wasn't mentioned. So I don't know how do we,
No, it's a fair point.
Yeah.
It's a fair question. What's up, Karen?
Yeah, I have a question about whether or not the committee itself, in its rulemaking or general guidelines in the way it was going to operate, determined how it wanted to deal with if it had an opening. So I wonder about that. And so it might make sense for us to inquire before any appointment is made or any next step is taken, just to see if they discussed how they would want to handle that as a group.
I'm hearing that on a number of fronts, there are ways that we can
Microphone.
include a wider swath of community in this decision, both within the Housing Advisory Committee and more generally. I don't believe Vicky's seat vacant has yet made it to the Plainfield webpage, like the homepage. So point taken. We can, sounds like we're going to return to this conversation.
Are you going to withdraw your motion?
Yes.
Do you agree with that, Patty?
I hate to have someone like Ross come in and say no to him right away, but I guess I will with prejudice.
we're not saying no, we're just saying maybe later.
I know, I just, did you hear all the stuff he's capable he can do? And
I did. I was not here.
yeah.
Ross, again, I'm just making a statement. I have
I
nothing.
think it's great, and I think they have a meeting this week, and you should go, introduce yourself and whatnot, but, Tammy, the point is taken, is like, we just learned this, we should always publish when there are vacancies on committees to allow the widest possible participation, so. All right, can we move on to warrants?
Warrants.
Can I clarify
And I was going to,
Yes?
name? Is it Russ or Ross?
With a U,
With a
R
U,
U S
Russ,
S.
okay, sorry.
and then are you,
The French show is really not.
and then are you free this Wednesday at 5 p.m.?
The day after tomorrow, you say?
That is when the Housing Advisory Committee's next meeting
Great.
on the Goddard campus.
Okay.
I think they've been in the clock tower,
Okay.
which is behind the Haybarn Theater.
I've yet to make it up that way, so that'll be my,
And they're also on Zoom, too, if you want to do it that way, so.
I'm sorry.
They're also on Zoom, if you want to do it that way, so, yeah. All right. Accounts payable, I have two dates here in the agenda, 4/28 and 5/6.
I lost my agenda.
Are they in the binder?
Correct. I would make a motion to approve accounts payable dated 4/28/2026, 5/6/2026, and payroll 5/7/2026.
I will second that.
Any discussion?
Just
Not-
appreciation for the work and pulling all of that together. Really appreciate the
Yeah.
work that's being done. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was the biggest pile of invoices I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah. Tammy gets some love for that too. So
Thank
we were all over
It
that.
needed a bigger clip, though.
It did, and we had to like turn it around, it took us a little bit.
Why was there so much?
What?
Why was there so much extra?
Why was it? Because now we're current.
Yeah, pretty close.
Right.
The town has a lot of invoices, just
Well,
because
there
we're
were
small.
some past due, so those are some
Yeah.
past due ones all the way back to January. So as of, when you said we were closed, I mean, all the ones that were in the folder are done. I went, so,
Like
I went Friday.
Paying the printer for the town report was one in there that's been there for a
Yeah,
while.
there was, and then there was some that I think people just didn't know what
The town
accounts,
report one
sharp
came-
accounts to put it under, so
Yeah.
they kept just
Yeah.
skimming over it. So I took some time, I made some calls, Jamie made a call to the printer place to find out whose bill it was. So I think we're doing better,
And the town
at least with that.
The town report bill was mailed to us again, I don't know where the original one went.
The town report.
The one for
There's-
It was interesting looking through them to see how different people do their codings. Some by full numbers, some by partial numbers, some by names. And as the chart of accounts gets finalized, it will be really, really good to have uniformity there. It is a long road, we still have a ways to go.
Yeah, and nobody's coding their stuff yet, we're doing that.
Anyway. And that's probably a good time to remind you that we are going to have Cynthia at our next select board meeting with another presentation to sort of update as to where we are on various financial fronts, and there's certainly been a lot of activity there. So that will be something for the Tuesday, the 26th. All right, so we have a motion and seconded to approve these two warrants and payroll. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, and that is 5-0. All right. Announce the date for the next select board meeting. We're going to have warn a special meeting for next Monday, a special select board meeting, which is, and that'll be, did we say 7 to 9 or 6 to 8?
6 to 8, I believe.
6 to 8
I believe so.
for the
regular meeting.
local concerns meeting.
Oh, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the flood.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So that is local concerns. And again, there will be links posted that you can make comments, even if you can't attend the meeting, or if you attend the meeting and get home and say, oh, I meant to say that, feel free to do that. But mostly, this will be about 20 minutes or so presentation of the process, some of the things that are going on, where next steps are, and then input. And they really seek this early on. They also warned us that we are likely to hear anything and everything at this kind of a meeting, and they expect that. So come with your ideas, with your comments, your criticisms, your cuts, your questions, anything.
And Peter, Peter just would add that the link is on the town homepage under the posting for the local concerns meeting, so folks can access that now.
Yeah. All right, so that's that one. At the following, we normally would have a meeting the fourth Monday, but that's a holiday. So we're going to move to Tuesday, the 26th. But we would also like to warn a special select board and wastewater commission meeting for 5:30 that evening. And that is to open the bids for the FEMA project on Recreation Field Road. That has to be done by the select board according to our procurement policy. But really the expertise here is from water and wastewater. So we'll have to do that together. We have to open the bids and read them here, and then make the decision. And so hopefully that'll take place in about a half an hour, and then we can move into the regular select board meeting at 6 o'clock. All right. Any other questions or announcements? If not, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Need a motion to enter into executive session, personnel, 1 VSA 313.
I'll second.
Okay, Francis Rose and Andy, all those in favor, please say aye.
Any discussion?
So I just want to ask, I guess, can you explain to me, because we've been having a lot of these meetings, of you guys going into executive session?
Yes.
Can you give the town, or I guess the community, an idea of why that's happening? And then also, it seems like there's things that are being decided, like, for example, I'm going to use the example Peter had said earlier about the changing of the description for the new position. I don't know how those decisions are being made. And I'm just trying to understand, I guess, where I'm missing something or where I need to find that information. But it feels like we're having these meetings, things are being said that there was no decisions made, but yet it feels like we're having decisions made. So I guess if you could just speak to that and tell me, I guess, being on the select board, I'm aware of kind of what.
I cannot speak very much to personnel issues
No,
here.
absolutely. But
And all I can say is that we are discussing personnel issues, and that is the citation.
absolutely. But when you come out of these meetings, you have, if a decision was made, and it could be as simple as, I'll say, a job description, or, anything, telling Mike to do the graffiti, whatever decision you guys made, I'm just kind of saying different things that we've discussed in these meetings, but any decision that is made by the select board in that meeting has to be publicly acknowledged.
No decisions have been made in those
In
meetings
reference to any party.
in reference to anything.
But how did you make the decision on the changing of the description?
Well,
Of
this
job
was,
description?
We haven't.
We
You
haven't.
had said earlier
we
that
we
you
haven't,
tweaked it.
we haven't yet.
Oh, maybe I misunderstood. I thought you had said that you had decided to
No,
make that decision.
no,
Oh, okay.
we haven't,
And I
that has not been
misunderstood.
made yet.
Okay,
We have a proposal, and we may do that.
okay, so that wouldn't be done in an executive decision, that would be done in
If
public.
we did something, we would come out and make a decision to
That
do
would
that.
be something, a job description is not something that needs to go in an executive session. That is not a decision, that's not something you can go into executive session. It's
Karen,
only-
Yeah, I just wonder if I could clarify something. I think, and I wasn't on for the first few minutes of the meeting, so I just want to say that the only revisions that were made that I'm aware of was for the job ad itself. And so the job itself was not amended, but the way we promoted it in the job ad was different. So that was the one thing that I'm aware of, but we have not changed any job descriptions at all at this point. Right? I just want to be clear. Did I miss something?
No,
Okay.
what Karen is talking about is, at the ad that we posted in 7 days, for example, and at the beginning, it sort of describes Plainfield a little bit, and we tweaked the description of Plainfield to say, initially it didn't say we were less than 1,400 people, because we wanted to give people an idea of the scale. And now we're talking about, looking for someone who has a focus and attention to detail and would like to see that, come to life. But the job description has not changed at all.
I might
It's
have
just the
misunderstood what you were
context.
saying. I was just trying to use, these meetings aren't to discuss, when you're going to executive session, it is to discuss, but when you come back out, if a decision of any sort is made, it needs to be publicly acknowledged. So it could be-
Absolutely, and to my knowledge, we have never not come out of executive session and not taken and not announced any actions. In fact, if you go back a couple of meetings, we came out of executive session and took 4 or 5 bullet point actions. Any other session that we have come out of, we have not taken any action.
So whether it has to do with an employee or whether job description, any of that, a job description shouldn't even be in executive decision, but that, I don't even know how we came up with that job description, or even.
It was delegated to two of us to come up, and we did it and circulated it, and that's what the board decided to put out there. That was all done publicly.
Okay.
Okay, when we're going into job discussion, we're going into executive session now. We are going into session to discuss personnel issues.
Okay, and if a decision is made,
It'll be
even
announced.
about an employee, it has to be discussed. It has to be disclosed at that time. A discussion,
That's
any
correct.
decision made,
That's
whether it
correct.
be an email to an employee, whether it be something in their file, whether it be asking them to do a task, changing their job description, any of that has to be disclosed in public. And I'm only questioning because I don't know if I'm missing something, but it just feels like in these meetings, I've been coming to the meetings. I should be able to follow along, and I'm not sure that I am because I'm missing some things. And maybe I just misunderstood what you said, Peter, but some of it is just trying to be clearer with the community. And I know there's 5 of you, and it's easy to have a conversation between the two people, and that's an advantage that you had that when I wasn't on the select board. But nevertheless, any conversations should be coming back to the community.
So what I will say is there was an executive session about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, where we made multiple decisions. Those decisions were published in the minutes of the meeting, which is what we're required to do.
Yeah.
So I think we're agreeing with you. And if you go back and look at the minutes, you will see where it says we come out of executive session, and then it lists the decisions that were made, which were moved and voted. So I think we're pretty kosher on this in terms of, yeah, and you can go back and look and see what's in there.
And no decisions have been made since that?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I'm just going to clearly state, and I don't want to throw Carol under the bus, but she asked me to review an email the other day and
To help me with my.
to help her with her task because she was confused by the task given. And I was taken back by the last sentence that was on that task. And I guess I just haven't heard that in an executive meeting, so I don't know when the task was given. I guess I didn't look at that. But it was due on Friday, and I heard multiple times she was asking for assistance on this task. But I don't know where the task came about. I don't know, like, it wasn't discussed at a select board. It wasn't disclosed that we were going to ask our staff to do these tasks. So how was this task even given? And given with a deadline, with honestly a threat.
With a what?
A threat of writing up. How does that come about without that being discussed as a select board? That's a decision. And and that bothered me, to be very honest. So I'm trying to be nice and trying not to throw anybody under the bus, but I really want to know, because I went to just help Carol and try to help the situation. And to be very honest, stress myself out by the inclination of that email. So, are you all familiar with the email?
I'd like to speak to this.
Okay.
At least in my head, I'll speak for me personally, not on behalf of anybody else.
No. Just, well, sorry, I didn't mean to, I hope you're not, I didn't discuss with Carol that I wasn't intending to do that.
It was my understanding that there is a threshold of policy decision, procedural decision, that going forward needs to be disclosed coming out of an executive session. That we, in our supervisory role of town employees, there is a certain degree of discretion that we can offer, so that we're not bringing all of our employees' business out to the entire town. Like the ramifications of doing what you're describing almost negate why we're going into executive session. And I recognize that where the threshold is in my mind may not actually track with state regulations.
I agree, it's difficult, and I always
So-
felt uncomfortable
So
about
that
but it's
is
still
why, I
required.
mean, to acknowledge, yes, like that task that you described, that did come out of executive session. However, that did not rise to apparently any of our levels of threshold about this needs to be disclosed because this is an employer-employee matter that is not town business, that is not like for the town's awareness about that level of detail within town business.
So as much as I hear what you're saying, and I struggled when I was on the select board, I totally hear what you're saying, and I understand. I obviously didn't come from, I worked at the credit union, we had that relationship, so I understand. But on the other hand, you also have to step back, and Carol's not the 5-year employee, she is an employee of our town. And I think that, or whether it be Carol, Mike, any of them, it is something that the town needs to be aware and is required. And so these conversations and the fact that, again, I was reading this email and without understanding, because we're not having conversations here at the select board about what's going on. Again, it feels very uncomfortable. You guys consistently going into executive session that we have that many, we have, 8 employees, and we have this many issues that it's every meeting that you're going into executive session, but nothing comes out. And then to feel like, if you're asking for a job description, there's no real, I guess I'm not sure why that wouldn't have been publicly disclosed. And that way, it could be clear, and like I was just trying to help to try to guide her, but that's causing a lot of stress. And in the situation at the town clerk's office is hard. That's why I volunteered my time. They're currently in a situation that they're missing one person. It's putting a lot of work, it's putting a lot of stress on Carol. She's used to a certain way. So all I'm asking for is a little compassion and clarity to the community of what's going on so we can help, or
Let me say this, Tammy. We are going through some growing pains, moving from a town that had elected town clerk and treasurer to appointed town clerk and treasurer. Those growing pains were made more difficult by the people who preceded in those offices, and by the health issues of the two people, the town clerk and the treasurer, who came later. Both have had very serious issues. Neither of those people ever had a job description. And we struggled with that. We now have a job description and an employment agreement for the town clerk. We now have a job description for a town treasurer, financial director position. We don't have an employment agreement yet because we don't yet have an employee, a person to hire in that position. Both of those positions have supervisory authority over an assistant. One is required to appoint one, the other may appoint one. Because of the actual events that occurred, a lot has fallen into Carol's lap. A lot has fallen into the select board's lap that shouldn't be in any of our laps.
I agree.
And so we are struggling with that. We have struggled with, by hiring professional assistants on several limited occasions, Carol Dawes, Patty Lewis, Sarah Macy. Now we're working with Cynthia Stoddard at Nemrick. We're now working with Bonnie Batchelder at that firm. We're about to have an audit firm, Sullivan and Powers, come in. All of this is designed to get our town finances back in order. We've also engaged a couple of other consultants to work with the office dynamics, et cetera. And we've had assistance from people like Carl Bissix as an engineer to come in with the layout of the office, how to make things better, how to make things work there. We are working on many fronts to try and resolve those issues. I did want to echo what Francis Rose said, that part of this is the fact that as the select board, we are the employer of these people. Which is not the role that existed 2.5 years ago. And so we are learning how to do that. And to do that, the reasons we've gone into executive session on personnel issues have varied. Sometimes they talked about the former town clerk, sometimes they talked about the former town treasurer, sometimes they talked about the current employees, all right? And all of those have to do with the definition of the roles and responsibilities there. And they are changing and they will continue to change. We know that. We have tried to get everything non-town clerk off of Carol's plate because she's the only person who can concentrate on finances right now. That we hope will change once a full-time treasurer and things can go back. But right now, we have to deal with the priorities that present themselves, and every day presents new priorities. It's unfortunate.
Charlie Cosgrove has been up for a long time too.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate a little bit of what Tammy said. I also am in the blue on the organizational chart of the town as it sits now. I would really like to see all of these consultants, all of these assistant jobs explain to the town of who they're working under. For particular, you said that the assistant town clerk and at the discretion of the treasurer, the assistant town treasurer is supervised by the town clerk and the town treasurer. It seems to me that supervision has been superseded.
Can you explain that, Charlie? I didn't follow that.
According to statute, the assistant town clerk is appointed by the town clerk. That did not change with the appointment of the town clerk. That still sits. That still sits. The state is not clear about the new appointments and the connection with the old elected positions. The elected positions are gone in this town for the time being. However, some of the duties and responsibilities are statutory with the job and not at the discretion of
that is correct, Charlie. Absolutely 100% correct.
And I'd like to see some sort of organizational chart that makes that clear so that the town knows that these positions of town clerk and town treasurer are officers of the town, in addition to being employees of the town, and apparently now supervised and directed by the select board as employees. They still have duties and responsibilities as elected positions that go beyond, that supersede whatever the town select board chooses. It's vague. It's ambiguous. It's developing. The state hasn't clearly stated what this is.
Well, you are absolutely correct there too. And in fact, our attorney, in writing out the employment agreement for Jamie, told us that in fact the state legislature, the state has not kept up with the trends of moving from elected to appointed. And so we work with the best legal advice that we can get, which we often get in executive session. That is something that has often occurred in executive session.
but that has
But
not
that's
been
a job
conveyed to the town.
description.
Excuse me?
That has not been conveyed to the town. The townspeople deserve to know who their officers are, what their responsibilities are, and if they change, they want to know when they change. I agree, we're in flux. It's hard to say what the answer will be, but it would be very possible to say what the answer is today. And if you go into executive session, or if you make decisions, such as deciding a new task, deciding that the town clerk should supervise the assistant clerk, could you please tell the town in open session that you have decided that?
Well, the town clerk supervises the assistant town clerk, whether the town clerk is elected or appointed. That's a matter of fact.
Yes, but apparently right now, the assistant town clerk is being supervised by two different bodies.
The assistant treasurer is being supervised by the select board because the assistant treasurer is legally the treasurer at the moment.
Has the town been told that Carol, I assume, is the official interim treasurer?
I'm not the official.
That has been, by law, the assistant treasurer must assume the duties of the treasurer when the treasurer becomes vacant. We have said that several times.
Could you say right now, is the assistant treasurer serving as the treasurer of the town?
Not to my knowledge.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. I have not been trained to that,
We know.
I think. Or would I?
But I think that this conversation tells you that our community doesn't understand what you guys are doing. And that was my point, that I think we need, and our job descriptions, like that shouldn't have been done in an executive session. And one of the things that working at the town, I continue to hear that's not in my job description. If we have not put in our job description that any other task, I know my job description at the credit union had.
Other duties as assigned.
Exactly. There is no, that's not my job description, right? If you need to go and sweep off the porch, you need to go sweep off the porch, right? I mean, it's just like the water crew coming and moving file cabinets.
Tammy, I would say this. We go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. When we make a decision, we come out, we make those decisions publicly, and we announce those publicly. You know as well as I do that many people do not read the minutes of the select board meetings or any other meetings in town. Some people do, and some people come. Part of our challenge, particularly on the financial side, where most of our challenges arise at the moment, not only because of the flooding, but that has added orders of magnitude to the scale of the problems and the accountability for which this town must take responsibility, and has not done well in the last 3 years. We have made it a point to have Cynthia come and speak to the public about that, and have scheduled her again at our next meeting to come and do that, to do exactly what you're asking for, because we do believe that the people of the town need to understand the financial status and the challenges that that presents to us, the systems, and the personnel who work for us. And the best way to do that is to have the professional who's helping us design those systems and implement those systems explain it. We are not often the best messengers of what can be, described as professional expertise. And so that's why we're trying to do that. And, we cannot do it on every issue at every meeting. And so we have to try and plan how to best present all of that.
Karen has a question.
Yes, Karen?
If I may, I just want to say that part of the challenge that we're in the middle of right now is that we are building the plane while we're flying the plane. And we are without a pilot in one of the key, like we're without a co-pilot. So it's like in a perfect world, we would have all the job descriptions done. Everybody would know exactly what's expected. We'd all know our roles exactly right. We'd know what things have to be talked about in public. All that. But we have 2 new select board members. We've got people missing. We've got, and we've and all this financial upheaval that Tammy, you've seen. It's not, the system isn't working. And so we're trying to fix the system, and we're trying to make sure everybody's comfortable with it. And we know change is hard, and we're trying to get it right. So I just would really ask for some patience and some good graces, to hold us. We're in this together. This is hard work, and we're trying to get it right. So I just, let's keep figuring it out together, but know that we're not trying to hide anything, and we're trying to do the best job for the town all the way around. But it's like, we're in this every day, all day, most of us. And just your patience and forbearance is appreciated.
So that being said, I appreciate that, and I understand.
Tammy.
Oops, sorry.
I would just like to say that whenever they said in the rules, the state, that the assistant treasurer becomes the treasurer position now, and you find this in all the towns, the cities, it's more like a financial director. I don't want this all to be public. It's more of a financial director type of job. And I have never been trained on the town side of things. I always had certain things. I was doing them for 32 years now. And I think I've done my job very well, what I was asked to do, what I was expected to do. Sometimes the other town clerk was out 2 months, I could carry on. But I'm being asked to do stuff now that I haven't been trained in, know nothing about. I've done my best, I've kept it together. Previous treasurer would come to me at the end of the day, we would do things together. I have no treasurer. I'm not a director of finance. But a lot of towns just sort of have like a treasurer title, but they're not really using it. They have a director of finance, and that's not me. So I really don't think that I didn't apply for the treasurer job.
So I want to start by saying, Carol, you have more knowledge than most of us here about the town, and you should have some confidence in that, because I think that if it wasn't for you, that we would all be in trouble. So that being said, we have your back, that's why we're all here. In reference to what Karen said, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the patience in giving you guys that, but I also want some understanding that if something's not quite right, we need to speak up, and you guys need to hear that, because that's the only way change is going to happen. So I spoke up, and I was trying to nicely ask questions. I did not mean to bring out the email. I think that the key to my questions were, there's a lot of these, and I'm asking that you guys think about what I said today and understand that as much as we're all learning, we need to learn from that and be open to the community, and know that your responsibility is to come out of those executive sessions and let the community know what's going on. And job descriptions, anything that does not pertain to personal information should not be discussed in executive session. That's not one of the rightful things. So if you guys haven't looked at the executive session and what should be in there, then I would recommend that you all do, because you're all kind of holding each other accountable for what should be discussed in executive session. So that being said, in reference to, again, the job description, if we can add the clause in there, if that's not in there at this point, that would be helpful. I think for everybody just to know, you're working for the community, and we're all in this together. And so, Karen, you're right. I totally get it. Being on the select board for the first year, and has your plate, you have your plate full, because everything you guys are dealing with is a lot, and you didn't sign up for that. And so we do appreciate what you're trying to do. I just ask that we stop and just consider it's difficult for everybody. And as I just indicated, Carol is our rock right now, and we need to appreciate that and evaluate what stress that is causing. So be a little more sensitive to how things are being presented and how we're discussing stuff. Be a little more open-minded, stop and listen, and I think that things would go a little bit easier for everybody.
And Tammy didn't stick her nose in at work or anything. I
just sat in the back office.
I reached out to her after hours and offered to hire her because I was trying to hire people to help me with that additional task. That's how much I did not understand it. And I probably had 12 people look at it. And then I offered Tammy, whatever your rate is, I would like to pay you to help me with this.
Which I did not take.
No, of course she didn't take any money from me, but it wasn't done on town time. It was on our own time.
I would only add that, I think it was Andy who replied to an email the other day saying, the ever-present or something like that executive session on this coming agenda. There is no one who would like to see that disappear from the agenda more than I would. However, we're not there yet. I'll just leave it at that. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
That already happened.
You already have it.
It was seconded. This was the discussion piece.
All right, thank you.
Need a vote.
And so who moved that? Francis Rose and Andy, so you seconded it? Sure. Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Sorry,
Thank you. No, you did your job.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Thank you. We'll entertain a motion to leave executive session.
We'll make it that motion pursuant to 1 VS, whatever the rest of it is.
13.
313.
313, thank you.
Yep.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that has passed unanimously. Is there any action to be taken?
Yeah, I have a motion to approve the treasurer/finance director job posting as amended and attached to the minutes of this meeting, and to continue advertising for the position in 7 days for 2 additional weeks.
Thank you.
Second.
Andy, thank you. Can we read the additional verbiage at the top of the ad?
Do we need to?
Let's.
Okay, read
Sure.
the whole thing then.
Town
Right.
treasurer and finance director, town of Plainfield, Vermont. Are you a big picture thinker with keen attention to detail? Are you a systems person who loves when tasks are completed and the numbers balance? Are you someone who can stay focused amidst the hands-on nature of day-to-day municipal government? Would you like to use your analytical skills to make a big impact? The town of Plainfield, population 1,400, a quirky small town in central Vermont that has been heroically dealing with the aftermath of 2 years of historic flooding, is looking to fill a key position in our town office. The town treasurer and finance director position combines the statutory responsibility of the town treasurer with big picture support of the town select board as it steers the town through major recovery projects to a stable and sustainable future.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. We need a vote.
I seconded it. Seconded Andy's motion.
Andy moved and Rose seconded. Any further discussion? Nope. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, 5-0. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
It's been moved
Second.
to adjourn.
Second.
Karen seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you all.
Thank you all.
They came with the hat.
Good
Yeah,
night.
Karen, we'll move a few chairs in your honor.